Hi guys, welcome back to another ShakeTube video. For those of you who are new, ShakeTube is a 15-week read-along of Shakespeare plays, where each week we read a new play, and then on the Friday we upload our thoughts on that particular play. We're currently in the 14th week, so just one more week after this. And in this 14th week we are discussing Antony and Cleopatra. This is the first time I've read this particular play, didn't really know anything about it. It's part history play, part romantic tragedy. It takes place between Rome and Egypt, and it flits, kind of back and forth rather swiftly between those two locales. Begins in Egypt, where we encounter Antony and Cleopatra. Antony is a member of the triumvirate that rules Rome. He rules along with a man named Lepidus and Octavius Caesar. And Cleopatra is the queen of Egypt. He is in this romantic love affair with her, even though he himself is married to Fluvius, and doesn't spend much time in Rome, even though he is supposed to be jointly ruling with the other two. While he has been away, Pompey, sort of a pirate in the Mediterranean, has been kind of attacking Rome. Caesar's furious with Antony for not living up to his oath of providing ships or soldiers and things to help fight in this war. He's also angry because Fluvius and Antony's brother have also been warring against Caesar. And as the play kind of opens up, Antony comes to learn that his wife has died, and of this, civil war kind of taking place, and he has to return home. Now he knows Cleopatra is going to be not too happy about it, and in fact, as he informs his lieutenant Enobarbus, he happens to say that Cleopatra, he says, I have seen her die 20 times upon far poorer moment. She is very histrionic in the way she reacts to things. She's very manipulative of Antony, knowing she has the power to kind of control him because of their love affair, and she's just kind of over the top at times. So he explains, that he's got to go back, and she describes him as this unfaithful lover. First of all, that he cheated on his wife for her, but when she comes to learn that his wife is dead, and sees his reaction to it, she says, "Where be the sacred vials thou shouldst fill with sorrowful water? Where the tears you should be crying." She says, "Now I see in Fulvia's death how mine received shall be." So she's again reacting to possible situation in the future, like, if you don't care about your current wife's death, how are you going to be if I should die? Just sort of maybe a portent to the future. But they reconcile, and he does return to Rome to kind of meet up with Caesar and Lepidus and decide like the fate of what they're going to do with Pompey. Also to kind of re-cement their union. They're supposed to be ruling together, but Caesar and Antony, we come to learn, do not really get along. They'll never be friends, basically. It's suggested that now that Antony's a widower and Caesar has a sister named Octavia, perhaps the union between them two will cement their friendship. And he agrees to this. Now you can just imagine how Cleopatra takes this when she hears the news. She flies into this rage. She wants to know everything about Octavia. When she comes to learn from the messengers that Octavia's not as pretty as she is, her vanity's kind of satisfied that she'll be able to draw Antony back home. In fact, within Act 2, Scene 3, Antony says that, though I make this marriage for my peace, in the east my pleasure lies. So his thoughts are, strictly towards Cleopatra. Upon the suggestion that Antony will have to leave Cleopatra, Enobarbus says kind of in a famous line here, "Never, he will not. Age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety." And she's so unique and so appealing that he will constantly be drawn back towards her. I found Antony and Caesar both very prideful characters. They both demand like accolades and their share of everything. When they're at war, it's like again the same thing where with the oath that they describe to each other, that they would provide soldiers or support in battle to each other, and then the fact that Antony fails to do that, or if they succeed in some kind of battle, that they should share the spoils of the war, and each saying that well, you owe me this from this and you owe me that from that, and both very, very prideful characters, and it comes to the point where I think Caesar begins to think that only one person should rule Rome. He ends up, along with Lepidus, waging war against Pompey, even though earlier in the play they seem to reconcile with him, and all kind of part seemingly friendship. They make a deal. He'll get Sicily and some other lands, and he'll pay back something else. And but then, you know, Caesar kind of turns. He and Lepidus wage war again against Pompey. And Antony is furious that this is taking place and kind of pulls the triumvirate apart again. Caesar and Lepidus are successful, Pompey is killed, and then Caesar turns on Lepidus and locks him away. So now he's sort of solely in control of Rome because Antony's off in Egypt, and now another war kind of is going to take place between Antony and Caesar. And Cleopatra kind of plays a part in this as well because of her naval forces as well. She joins with Antony, but Enobarbus, everybody tells him, do not fight at sea. That's where Caesar is the strongest. But he's so headstrong. He's like, well, he challenged me to this. I'm going to fight him on the sea. And much to his failure, he's defeated utterly. Then you see Caesar and Cleopatra. He's trying to make a deal with her. You turn over Antony, and you'll be allowed to continue ruling Egypt and this. But now Antony's furious, thinking that they're colluding behind his back, and there's lots of just like kind of misunderstandings and things going on between characters and misinterpretations of scenes, and they kind of pull them apart and draw them back together. Between Antony and Cleopatra, one moment they're arguing with each other and they're passionately embracing, and it all kind of comes to this kind of Romeo and Juliet type ending. There's a part where Antony believes Cleopatra has taken her own life, and he, in his despair, decides to join her and tries to commit suicide, but kind of misses the mark. It is a fatal blow. He is dying, but then he comes to learn that Cleopatra is not dead, and he has to be brought in front of her. And there he says this line, and it's still again a bit prideful that he has done this to himself. It says, not Caesar's valor hath overthrown Antony, but Antony hath triumphed on itself. Saying that, he's not dying because of Caesar. Cleopatra says, so it should be that none but Antony should conquer Antony, but woe to so. So she agrees, that he would never be conquered by anyone else. And then in turn, in her despair and also in not willing to be paraded in Rome by Caesar as, the conquered, she ends up taking her life as well. So it's quite a tragic ending at the end. But I really enjoyed the play. It is sort of, in a way, basically a sequel to Julius Caesar, which I also read just recently. I think this was in week 4. Actually, it was quite a while back in September. Would have liked it a little bit following closer behind. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. I also happened to track down a version of the play on YouTube, which I'm going to put a link down below because it was excellently acted, really good. It's the complete play. I mean, they may have shaved out parts of it, but it's not like just little scenes, 2-minute scenes that you'll get. You'll get 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours worth of this play performed, and I thought they did a fantastic job. There's lots of situations, I think, where, there's like this big naval battle taking place, and the way they filmed it, you can't obviously bring these huge ships on there, but I thought it was really interesting the way they staged the play and all. It would be really neat to see that in person, but definitely check out the YouTube video. If you haven't had a chance to pick up a copy of it, you'll at least get a really good feel for the play. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. There's no major soliloquies within it. I mean, that one line by Enobarbus about Cleopatra's infinite variety, that's the only line that really came to mind that I recognized from hearing it from someplace. I don't know, but yeah, I found it a really, really great play. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to going into the next one. Again, a new play not a new play, but new to me. I've never read The Tempest before. I had this particular copy of it. It's one of those Dover thrift editions. But I probably will not be reading it from this. I picked up this at library sale for $3.50. It's 12 Shakespeare plays. But I found I really don't like these editions because they abbreviate the names of the characters. And it gets a little confusing to keep in your head who these people are when you only get 3 letters for a character. And who's that, I do like these editions quite a bit because you do also get translated text on the other side. So if you have trouble with it, you can kind of flip to the other side and translate it for you, but you get the full, character names, and also I like the character descriptions, a little synopsis about the characters in the beginning as well. So these are really great additions. Definitely recommend those for people who are kind of new to Shakespeare or having a little trouble with the language. But I really enjoyed this play a lot, and I'm looking forward, like I said, to moving on and then finishing off ShakeTube 2017. Getting into the holidays, getting really busy, so it's getting tough to kind of get these things filmed. But I hope you guys have been enjoying these discussions. Let me know down below if you have read Antony Cleopatra and how you felt about the play, or if you are putting up your own ShakeTube video, let me know and I will go check that out. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.